Good morning and welcome to my show. I'm your host, Danny Graham. I both invite and encourage you to walk with me on the road to wisdom. Come on, y'all. Let's walk. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. As you can see, it is Monday, November 27th, the day after Thanksgiving weekend. I'm very thankful for a lot of things. In particular, I'm thankful for this episode. This is my 100th episode of The Road to Wisdom. I thank you all for joining me, and I hope that this episode will be iconic. I hope this episode will be something that when you see it, you listen to it, it really touches and resonates in your soul and in your spirit. Yesterday, I went to a visitor's church. I was a visitor at a church of Pastor Derek Ford. He is the pastor of Greater Commissions Ministries. I'm rocking their T-shirt that I got yesterday in their visitor package, and his church family made me feel very welcome. I have family that go there, friends that go there, and I saw some friends and family was able to really enjoy a fantastic service. In the land of Canaan was the service. Are we living in Canaan or are we living in the wilderness? Excellent, excellent sermon. I want to be in that 17%, Pastor. I want to be in that 17%. Um, Today, this particular episode is directed toward pastors. It's inspired by pastors. Pastor Ford, my pastor at my church, which is Bethesda Church of God, Pastor Al Simmons. This one is inspired by you as well. And for my parents, O'Neill and Annie, for their church, their ministers also. So I hope that this video touches y'all, your pastors, and each one of you, the four of you have influenced me in my platform here, and I hope that I do you proud with this one. The question I'm going to pose today is talking about spiritual health. And the question is, how healthy is your soul? That's my question for today. How healthy is your soul? The definition of a healthy soul, I looked it up, is the spiritual health and well being of an individual. The spiritual health and well being of an individual. The scripture about it comes from the book of Proverbs, the 17th chapter, the 22nd verse, and it reads as follows: A joyful heart is good medicine, but a broken spirit dries up the bone. I say again, Proverbs 17th chapter, 22nd verse: A joyful heart is good medicine, but a broken spirit dries up the bone. How many times in life have we heard this question or have heard this phrase, your health is your wealth? How many times you heard that? I know I've heard it, especially once I got older. Your health is your wealth. And when I was a young man, when we were young, we didn't have to talk about health is your wealth. What does that mean? But when you get on the other side of 50, 60, then you know exactly what it means. Your health is your wealth. The more healthier you are, the better, uh, a less of a burden that you feel towards loved ones and other individuals. And of course, when we think about health, we automatically go to physical health. And sometimes I work out 3 times a day now, and sometimes I walk, depending on the weather and depending on the time of day. I try to walk, get it in. Lately, it's been kind of hard because my part-time job and doing other things, and it gets dark really extremely fast now because of the time change. I don't walk at night. My neighborhood, it can be hazardous, but your health is your wealth. And like I said, we mainly when we hear that we focus on physical health. Like I said, you try to get stronger, maintain your muscle mass, whatever you have. You try to maintain a level of fitness, a level of cardio. You try to get all that stuff because the healthier you are, the better your body works. The healthier you are, the more you work out, the better you sleep at night. That's what studies show. The better you sleep, you got to watch what you eat because now the older you get, your metabolism is not the same. And a lot of things you can eat as a young kid and your body could cope with and digest and all that stuff. Now you have to be very particular on some of the things you eat because you got to watch your blood sugar, you got to watch your cholesterol, you got to watch your high blood pressure, and a lot of that stuff you can help um, manage by eating certain things. Now, some things you're not going to be able to manage because there's this good old word called what's that word called? Hereditary. If you get something that is hereditary from your family, like in my family, it is very prevalent to have diabetes and high blood pressure, which I have both. But that's very hereditary. You can't beat genetics. Sometimes it's passed down from generation to generation, but sometimes you can curtail that by the things you eat, by the exercise, how active you are, by the medicine you take, by the food you eat. So I've learned to eat better now. I still just eat some things I shouldn't eat, but for the most part, I've got my A1C. And for diabetics, you know what that is. I've got that down to a respectable number because one time it was double digit, and that's not good at all. Start getting high like that, and that affects things like your kidneys and affects things like your liver and your pancreas, and you don't want that because you need those things to live. But your health is your wealth, is what I'm going back to. A lot of times we focus on physical health. Another thing we focus on is mental health. Mental health. A lot of times, there are studies out there that shows that being lethargic, not being active and stuff, not reading and not keeping your mind active can lead to mental health. It can lead to depression. It can lead to sometimes diseases that lead to all different kind of things. It can lead to dementia sometimes. It can lead to Alzheimer's. So a lot of times you got to keep your mind sharp, keep your mind healthy, be active, read a lot. I read a lot more books now. Trying to read things. I read the Bible more right now. In particular, reading this book right here. It's called How Successful People Lead by John C. Maxwell. How Successful People Lead. That's one of the many books I'm reading. I read another book called Life is a Joke, and it sounds crazy, but it has over 100 life lessons in that book. And I try to use them time to time. I incorporate them time to time into this. And the third thing I want to talk about is spiritual health. Now, when we talk about, I just gave you two examples of physical health, and I gave you an example, and I talked about mental health. I'm going to talk about spiritual health now. Now, in physical health, a lot of times how you get results is you repetition. You go into the gym, you pick a particular weight that you can to work with, and you do it usually 3 or 4 sets, several different repetitions. You do a circuit of different exercises to exercise different parts of the body. Sometimes chest, arms, back, neck. It doesn't matter. But whatever particular muscle group you're working with, you take that particular exercise and you do, like I said, different sets. And you do repetitions several times to build a muscle. With your mental, to try to exercise your mental health. Sometimes you do crossword puzzles. You can do word games. You can play chess. I know how to play chess. I read a lot of books. That exercises and keeps your mind. How do you keep your soul healthy? One of the ways, to me, that you definitely keep your soul healthy is prayer. You have to pray every day. So as soon as you wake up, you need to pray. And I wake up, I say, "Thank you, Lord, for letting me see another day." Every time I go on before this show, I put a show out, I put a video out. I pray, Lord, please let me be able to enunciate and pronounce my words correctly. Please let me be able to recall the information that I've read. Lord, let it be for your service. Let it resonate with someone. Let it touch someone. And Lord, please bless this channel so that it grows and can go out there and help spread your word. I pray similar prayer like that each and every time I go on before I record this. A lot of times, what you can do, you need to go to church. And I know sometimes people can't physically go to church because their situations, part of the country they're in. Sometimes it could be health reasons. It could be a whole plethora of things or reasons why you can't physically go to church. But now, just about every church now has, you can go online. But there's a Church of God. I watched them last night. I noticed yesterday when I went to Greater Commissions, they had the ability that you can watch their stuff online on their services online. So there's a whole bunch of churches you can watch online. Even on the way to church, I turn on the radio station. I listen to the Big DM here in South Carolina, 101.3, and I can listen to a couple of services before I go to my church. So there are different ways that you can exercise and flex your spiritual health. It's very important that you do that because a lot of times, my pastor was saying in his sermon yesterday, is that a lot of times people get saved, but they stop there. He was talking about how people are a lot of times would prefer to stay locked up in Egypt, and Egypt was the example. But when God freed them and led them to the promised land through Moses, a lot of times they don't want to do it. They would rather suffer and be somewhat comfortable in a place where they're slaves like Egypt instead of breaking free and following God to the promised land. He also talked about how there were 12 spies that went into the promised land. And out of those 12 spies, only two of them said that it was possible for the Israelites to go to that land, conquer it, and make it their own. You talk about how big food was, how big the grapes were. It took two or three people to pull the grapes. They also had to live in a world of giants and stuff. Spiritually, we are always going to be in a world where there's going to be some kind of opposition. But that is why when you pray, you strengthen your spirit. That's why when you go to church, that is like gasoline. You keep replenishing your tank. Spiritually, your spirit is just like any kind of machine that you got, any kind of lawnmower, any kind of car, any kind of vehicle that takes power, takes energy. You have to replenish that. If you have a battery and you don't keep the battery charged, especially for those of us that are fishermen, you know you got to keep your battery charged in your boat to run your trolling motor and other different aspects of the boat. If you don't keep that battery charged, the next time you go fishing and you try to use your trolling motor or anything else that requires additional power, guess what? You're going to be stuck. So you have to recharge your battery. So you have to recharge your spirit just like that. You know good and well if you drive your car and it goes on E and it stays on E a long time, when that light comes on, usually that light comes on that okay, you got 50 more miles to go. If you don't put some more fuel in me, you're going to run out of gas. You're going to be on the side of the road. That's the same thing with your spirit. Well, guess what? If you don't exercise your spirit, it will be unhealthy. If you don't do God-like things, if you don't walk in God-like steps, if you don't hang around people, like I told you, if you hang around nine friends, if you hang around nine broke friends, you're bound to be the 10th one. If you hang around nine heathens, guess what? You're going to be the 10th heathen. That word give me a fit today. You're going to be the 10th heathen. If you hang around nine hell raisers, you're going to be the 10th hell raiser. So if you hang around nine good Christians, guess what? You're bound to be the 10th one. If you hang around nine righteous people, guess what? You're bound to be the 10th one. If you hang around nine spiritually strong people, guess what? You're bound to be the 10th one. So you got to make sure you do the correct things to make sure that your soul stays healthy, gets healthy, and remains healthy. That makes sense. Let me say it again. You got to do things to make sure your soul gets healthy, stays healthy. You gotta make sure your soul gets healthy. Once it gets healthy, you gotta make sure it stays healthy. And just like I said, prayer, reading God's word, hanging around people that are like you, that are positive people, that are walking the righteous way, that are living in Canaan and not living in the wilderness, like the pastor said. Make sure you hang around people that that are living in Canaan. Make sure you increase that 19%. Each person added to that 19% makes the percent bigger. So let's get to that 81% that Pastor was talking about yesterday. Let's get to that 81%. By doing that, you got to have a healthy soul. There are three aspects of soul health. There are three aspects of having a healthy soul. The first aspect is soul searching. Each and every one of us, when we're on our journey to achieve a healthy soul, was just the first thing we have to do. Soul searching. And basically, that's a deep and anxious consideration of one's emotions, motives, or correctness of a certain path. You got to make sure that you're doing something for whatever reason, preferably the righteous reason, preferably the reason that's going to be pleasing to God. You got to look down deep in your soul and say, "Look, am I doing the right thing? Am I just following the crowd? Am I just doing things that going on with the world? And am I doing things that was pleasing to God?" You got to look down deep and look in that mirror. Like Michael Jackson said, I'm talking to the man in the mirror. You got to talk to the man or the woman in the mirror to make sure that you are looking at yourself and saying and hold yourself accountable. You got to look deep in your soul and say, am I doing this for the right reason or am I doing this for the selfish reason? A lot of times, in a lot of aspects, we do things for the selfish reason. We do things for the wrong reason. A lot of times we do things to please other people and not please God. And the most important person, the most important thing, the most important entity we need to please is God. God first. Then comes family. So you got to make sure that you look deep into your soul and make sure whatever you're doing is what is pleasing to God, and that it's going to be for the uplifting of His name. So you look deep down in that soul and say, Danny, am I doing this for me? Or am I doing this for God? When I do this channel, I do it for God. There was a time when I was doing it for me and I wanted to be very successful, but I know if I pray and I do what's right, and I put out good content, and I ask Lord to please share and impart his wisdom with me. I think that God is going to make this channel as successful as he wants to be when he wants to be on his schedule. I would love for it to look on it and have 1,000 views and stuff, but that's not God's purpose now. Whenever he wants it to be the purpose, he's going to give me the perfect thing that's going to make this particular channel go viral. It may be just stay in a small pond. I don't know. I'm going to do whatever God does is going to be good enough for me with this channel. Anyway, to get back on track to aspects of soul health. The second aspect of soul health is soul nurturing. And the definition of soul nurturing is to cherish and feed your soul, mind, to cherish and fill your soul with mindfulness, positive thinking, intentional self care. Know yourself deeply and give yourself unconditional love. Soul nurturing, just like you gotta, just like you nurture family, you nurture friends, you nurture a profession, you nurture things that you see potential in. Your soul is potential. Your soul is a potential vessel, or whatever you want to call it, into getting you into heaven, which is the end game for any Christian. It should be for anybody on this earth. Why would you want to be in a position and not have a healthy soul, not have a positive soul, not have the soul that the Lord, that Jesus wants you to have, so you can achieve the ultimate prize, and that is to have your name in the book of life. To whenever we have the the rapture, that you are part of that. That whenever you wake up or whatever you transform, and you see the pearly gates, you see the streets paved with gold, you see the mansion. That is the ultimate goal. So you have to nurture that. Even and there's going to be a lot of opposition. Like we were talking in the pastor was talking in church yesterday. In Canaan, there was a lot of stuff. There were a lot of giants. There were a lot of different obstacles. There were a lot of people, and there were people of great strength and great power. And 10 of those people saw themselves as the size of a grasshopper. Like the pastor said, when you have a grasshopper mentality in this world, that's something very small and insignificant. You got to have the mindset of a powerful lion. You got to have the mindset that you are out here, you're one of God's warriors. You got to have the faith, you got to have the strength, you got to have the conviction of David. When David went against Goliath, if you look at it from size, I think David was no taller than Goliath's shin, maybe, or maybe his knee at best. But that did not deter David. David had God with him. David believed in God, and what God did, he delivered him. So no matter how big the giant is, no matter how tough the problem is, no matter how insurmountable odds seem to be stacked up against you, you got to make sure if you got God with you and you follow and you're obedient, that God's going to get you to that. God's going to get you through that problem. He's going to get you past that that giant. He's going to get you out of that wilderness, and he's going to get you into the land of Canaan. He's going to get you into that 17%. He's going to make your soul healthy. And all you have to do is make sure that you listen. Make sure that you nurture his word. Make sure that whatever word he gives you, whatever path he puts you on, that you do everything within your power to make sure that you're doing it, you're nurturing, you're loving, you're taking care of it, you're monitoring it to make sure that you stay on that path. Because sometimes it's easy to deviate. When things look good, sound good, there are people that the enemy puts in your way to try to deter you, to try to get you off that path. You got to make sure that you're strong enough, you're wise enough, you're smart enough to say, no, I'm going to pass on that. And I'm going to keep walking this way to make sure. Second part of the third aspect of nurturing your soul. And the last one is soul flourishing. And the definition of soul flourishing is an inward journey deep into the center of your soul or self where one can independently and privately relate to the Spirit of God. It's individual, it's private, disembodied, mystical, and essentially disconnected from community. That's when you're going to have that one-on-one conversation with God when you wake up, when you have your prayer closet. There's a movie called War Room, and this woman teaches, an older woman teaches a young woman on how to pray. And she said, you got to have your war room. In that particular movie, the war room was her closet. She took out all the material things, all the things and distractions, and all she put in that room was prayers. She prayed for herself. She prayed for her marriage. She prayed for her husband. She prayed for her child. She prayed for all different aspects of her life. That is soul flourishing when you have a connection with God. The more you pray, the more you read his word, the more God is going to impart his wisdom with you. The more that you're going to understand the Bible. There was a day last week. I'm not sure what particular um, video I did, but I was up here by myself. And I discovered that when you're by yourself in a quiet room, that's when God talks to you more. Versus, I tried to study and do something in the room with my wife, and she was watching TV, and I was trying to converse to her and do that. That didn't work. I quickly saw that didn't work. You have to be by yourself. You have to be focused. You have to pray. And what I do, I pray, Lord, please give me insight, give me wisdom, give me knowledge, give me understanding, and then I start reading the Bible, and then I have three different Bibles. I have a T.D. Jake Bible. I have a Tony Evans Bible, and I have what's his name? It was a gift from my pastor, Pastor Sims. Jimmy Swaggart Bible. It had a lot of commentary on it. Then I had one of the best things that my mom gave me was a dictionary. So there's a lot of words and stuff that the Bible says, and that dictionary definitely helps me out because y'all see I'm big in giving definitions and stuff. So when they say a Canaanite or they give one of these kings' names, I was reading the Book of Kings, and I'm like, who is that? And then the dictionary, you go there, look up his name, and it tells you he was a king during this time. He did this, 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 and this. So it made that particular video I worked on just flow so much better. I want to tell you the name of the video. Every video I write down, I have in my book here. I believe the name of the video was. Bear with me. I think it was Deception. But anyway, soul flourishing. You got to be one-on-one with God. You can't have any distractions. You have that. You develop that relationship with God, and once it is flourishing, and once you're flowing with it, your soul will flourish. Your knowledge will flourish. Your spirit will flourish because it's being directly watered. It's being directly irrigated, I guess, so to speak, by God. And I think He's speaking to you, and He speaks to you through your word. I think God speaks to you several different ways in your dreams, other people. That thought you're hearing by yourself when you sit down and quiet your mind and you pray, and you ask, Lord, please give me insight. Please, thou move left, thou move right. That's when I think God talks to us and works with us. So those are the three aspects of soul nourishment. I want to reiterate them again. The three aspects of soul health is soul searching, soul nurturing, and soul flourishing. So before I get up here, I want to read you a quote about how healthy your soul is. It is, getting healthy isn't just about losing weight. It's not limited to adjusting our diet and hoping for good physical results. It's about recalibrating our soul so that we want to change spiritually, physically, and mentally. The battle is with all three areas. You see that one more time. Getting healthy isn't about just losing weight. It's not limited to adjusting on our diet and hoping for good physical results. It's about recalibrating our soul so that we want to change spiritually, physically, and mentally. The battle is in all three areas. We're going to make sure our mind, our spirit, and our body are all in one, all on one accord. Only then truly we can have a healthy soul. So I definitely hope that this resonates with you. I definitely hope that the four pastors that I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I hope that this made you proud because it was inspired a little bit by the four of you. So definitely thank you all for letting me come to you each day on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 7 a.m. And that's very early. But this is my 100th episode. I hope to do 100 more. And thank you very much. I hope that you all had a fantastic Thanksgiving. I hope you see many more. The next holiday is Christmas. And for those of you that live here in Sumter, where I live at, my church, Bethesda Church of God, is having an awesome Christmas party. I think it's called. I'm not sure the name of it. I don't want to take the message. I believe it's the name of the play. But it's going to be, the first one is going to be this Saturday, December the 2nd at 6 p.m. Then that Sunday, they're going to have two of it. One is at 10 a.m. in the morning, and the second one will be at 4 p.m. next Sunday, December the 3rd. So if you're listen to this, come check it out. These shows are very, very awesome. This will be the first time I've seen one, but I've heard about them in the past. And I'm inviting you, if you live here in the town of Sumter or Manning or anywhere close by, come check it out. It's next Saturday and Sunday. So until then, y'all have a fantastic day. Be blessed. And I will see you on Wednesday morning. Have a good day.